Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nicodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. And welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter, where we have no sponsors, no hidden agendas, and no BS. But we do have the news, so let's talk about that. So grab a seat as we're about to uncover the truth behind eToro's delisting decision, the Ripple Labs versus SEC saga, the legal battle between Binance US and the SEC, the fight to fire SEC Chairman Gensler, and the race to regulate stablecoins in Hong Kong and the United States. So buckle up and let's dive right in. And we're going to start off with our cover story tonight. eToro announced it will be delisting 4 cryptocurrencies for its US customers. This decision comes in response to recent legal action by the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission against Binance and Coinbase. The SEC labeled certain cryptocurrencies as securities, which has led to this action by eToro. Starting from July 12th, U.S. customers will no longer be able to open new positions in the tokens of Algorand, Decentraland, Dash, and Polygon. However, customers can still hold and sell their existing positions in these tokens. This move by eToro follows a similar action by Robinhood. We covered it here the other night as they delisted ADA, Sol, and Matic last week. eToro's decision is part of its ongoing review framework. That's the process by which it evaluates its crypto assets in light of the rapidly evolving regulatory landscape. The platform cited, quote, recent developments as the reason for the move. This, of course, referring to those legal actions taken by the SEC last week. In those lawsuits, the SEC alleged that all 4 of these cryptocurrencies are securities. Same thing for ADA, Sol, and Matic, and a host of others. Despite this, eToro expressed its support for cryptocurrencies alongside its stocks, ETFs, and options offerings. The platform said that it is, quote, committed to working closely with regulators around the world to shape the future of the crypto industry and to champion access for the ordinary investor. The SEC's actions have led to a response from the crypto industry. Binance US reportedly hired a former enforcement officials for the SEC as part of their legal team to defend themselves against those allegations. And we'll talk about that personnel action in a bit. Binance US faces a lawsuit from the SEC. And that suit alleges that Binance failed to register as an exchange, broker, and clearing agency. The SEC made similar allegations against its parent company in the very same filing. The SEC also attempted to freeze the assets of Binance US through a temporary restraining order, and we'll get to that in a bit. Now, following the SEC's actions, Binance US announced that it would be suspending US dollar deposits and potentially pausing fiat withdrawals starting as early as today. The exchange cited the SEC's, quote, extremely aggressive and intimidating tactics as its reason for the move. U.S. lawmakers and industry leaders have criticized the SEC for its seemingly heavy-handed approach to crypto enforcement. On June 12th, Representative Warren Davidson called for the firing of SEC Chair Gary Gensler through a proposed bill aimed at restructuring the commission, and we will talk about that later. These recent actions by eToro and other platforms highlight the impact of regulatory actions on the crypto industry. As the regulatory landscape continues to evolve, platforms are taking steps to ensure compliance. Compliance may mean delisting certain cryptocurrencies. However, these platforms remain committed to supporting the crypto industry and are working together to shape its future. Now that we've explored the impact of regulatory actions on platforms and the delisting of certain cryptocurrencies, let's turn our attention to the ongoing legal battle between Ripple Labs and the SEC. This lawsuit raises critical questions about the classification of cryptocurrencies as securities and has the potential to shape the regulatory landscape for the industry. Let's dive into the details of Ripple Labs versus the SEC and the unveiling of the Hinman Documents. And I want to thank you for hanging in there with me tonight. And before we get to the Hinman Documents, I'm going to ask you to like the episode and subscribe to the podcast. It makes a huge difference in attracting new listeners to the show, so thank you. But I'm also really appreciative of when you share feedback with me. If you think I'm being unfair, tell me. If you have a suggestion, great, share that with me too. Listeners have reached out to me via Twitter, email, and YouTube. They've offered constructive criticism that I've implemented, so please keep that going. If you have feedback, positive or constructive, let me know. It goes a long ways towards improving this show, so thank you for that too. The crypto world has been buzzing with the recent release of documents related to the US SEC's stance on Ethereum and its native token Ether. These documents were unsealed as part of the SEC's ongoing lawsuit against Ripple Labs, revealing a series of internal discussions and debate within the SEC about whether Ether should be classified as a security. And honestly, I haven't had much time to give them more than a cursory glance really at this point. There's a lot to unpack, and I expect that it's going to take days and weeks to really understand all of what's going on here. But for now, in 2018, William Hinman was the director of corporation finance at the SEC. He made a speech stating that Ether did not appear to be a security. Now, this statement was significant because it suggested that Ether, and potentially other cryptocurrencies, might not fall under the regulatory purview of the SEC. However, the recently released documents show that there was considerable debate within the SEC about the clarity and the implications of Hinman's statement. One of the key issues was whether Hinman's speech was too vague about Ether's status. Brett Redfern is the former SEC Director of Trading and Markets. Now, he suggested that if Hinman wanted to state that Ether was not a security definitively, then the language of the speech needed to be stronger. On the other hand, if Hinman did not want to take a firm stance, Redfern recommended using language similar to what Hinman had used for Bitcoin, which would make the speech more consistent. The documents also revealed that Hinman planned to have a conversation with Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin in 2018. This conversation aimed to confirm the SEC's understanding of how the Ethereum Foundation operates. This suggests that the SEC was actively seeking information to inform its stance on Ether and other cryptocurrencies. The release of these documents has sparked a call for a fresh investigation into Hinman and his 2018 speech. Ripple Labs is currently being sued by the SEC for allegedly selling its XRP tokens as unregistered securities. They've been particularly vocal in calling for a new investigation. Ripple Labs' chief legal officer is Stuart Algorand, and he argued that Hinman ignored multiple warnings that his speech was creating confusion in the market and was not based on the law. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse echoed these sentiments. He said that Hinman's speech had thrown the entire crypto industry into chaos. These developments highlight the ongoing uncertainty and the debate about the regulatory status of crypto. The SEC has taken a more aggressive stance towards some cryptocurrencies, such as XRP. Even so, the classification of other cryptocurrencies, like Ether, remains a contentious issue. As the legal proceedings continue, the crypto community will closely watch for further insights into the SEC's views and potential regulatory actions. As we continue navigating the crypto industry's legal landscape, our next story brings us to the legal battle between Binance US and the SEC. Allegations of fraud, market manipulation, and asset safety have led Binance US to bolster its legal defense by enlisting a former SEC enforcement official. The outcome of this case carries significant implications for crypto exchanges and the industry as a whole. So let's delve into the latest developments in the Binance US versus SEC showdown. Now, we were talking earlier about the fact that Binance US is currently embroiled in a legal battle with the SEC. The SEC accuses Binance of fraud, market manipulation, and misleading customers about the safety and location of their assets. The agency has also filed a motion to freeze the company's funds, which Binance US has contested as an overly harsh and burdensome measure that would effectively put the company out of business. The SEC's allegations center around the claim that Binance US and its parent company redirected over $12 billion in customer assets to funds controlled by Changpeng Zhao. Commonly known as CZ, Zhao is the owner and founder of Binance. Binance US has countered these allegations. They said that they maintain their customers' fiat currency in segregated accounts with their banking partners, reportedly separate from any corporate funds. The company acknowledges that CZ owns BAM Trading's bank account, the entity behind Binance US. That said, they insist CZ does not have any signatory authority over that account. In response to the SEC's allegations, Binance US bolstered its legal team with the addition of one George Canellos. As mentioned earlier, Canellos is a former co-director of the SEC's Enforcement Division. He previously oversaw about 1,300 attorneys at the SEC. Now he's part of a team of 4 lawyers from Miliband LLP that now represent Binance US. John Reed Stark is a former SEC Office of Internet Enforcement chief, and we spoke about him last night. He suggests that Binance should prepare for a criminal prosecution. Stark believes that the DOJ will file a Binance-related criminal indictment, or perhaps they've already filed one that's being kept under seal, like the Hinman documents were. He sees money laundering charges as the DOJ's way into the action. Binance US proposed an alternative to the SEC's temporary restraining order. The company suggested that it will repatriate all assets to BAM Trading's, quote, possession, custody, and control. They would affirm that only Binance US employees have access and ensure that no one from the global Binance exchange can access those funds. This proposal would allow Binance US to continue to pay employees and vendors, but prevent it from paying any other Binance entity. The SEC's lawsuit against Binance US is part of a broader regulatory crackdown on the cryptocurrency industry, Choke Point 2.0. The outcome of this case could have significant implications for the future of crypto exchanges and the industry as a whole. In recent months, the SEC has been under fire for its approach toward the crypto industry. Two Republican congressmen, Warren Davidson from Ohio and Tom Emmer from Minnesota, have expressed their dissatisfaction with the SEC's chairman, Gary Gensler. Davidson announced on Twitter that he filed the SEC Stabilization Act. This act aims to restructure the SEC and remove Gensler from his position. Davidson argued U.S. capital markets need to be shielded from a dictatorial chairman. Tom Emmer is known for his support of crypto. He serves as the House Majority Whip. Emmer joined Davidson in drafting the legislation. Emmer has been vocal about his disapproval of Gensler's handling of the crypto market. He accused Gensler of driving the industry overseas due to his incompetence. The congressman pointed to a series of abuses committed by Gensler during his tenure, including the implementation of a Hotel California rule for cryptocurrencies. The rule, they argue, offers no resolution or clarity for those involved in the market. Emmer said American investors in the industry deserve clear and consistent oversight, not political maneuvering. These criticisms echo those made by the crypto industry. Coinbase accused the SEC of adopting an enforcement-only approach, without providing clear rules for digital assets. Binance US claimed that the SEC was using fear tactics to wage an ideological war against American digital asset industries. Even within the SEC, there has been opposition to Gensler's approach. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, often referred to as Crypto Mom, has frequently voiced her disagreement with the Commission's attempts to regulate cryptocurrencies using existing financial industry rules. This proposed legislation by Davidson and Emmer aims to do more than just remove Gensler. It also seeks to give more power to commissioners like Peirce by placing the authority for rulemaking, enforcement, and investigation under 6 commissioners. That's one more than the current 5. The legislation stipulates that no more than 3 of these commissioners can belong to the same political party, and that they would serve staggered 6-year terms. An executive director would manage the day-to-day operations of the agency. In addition to this, Davidson confirmed last month that a proposed 30% Bitcoin mining tax, a tax suggested by the White House, had been dismissed during the nation's ongoing debt ceiling crisis. This further underscores the complex and evolving relationship between the U.S. government and the crypto industry. As regulatory discussions continue, both Hong Kong and the United States are making significant strides in regulating the crypto market. Hong Kong has been actively working toward becoming a crypto hub and has completed a public consultation on stablecoin regulations. Meanwhile, the United States has introduced draft bills and faces a different regulatory approach. The implications of stablecoin regulations are far-reaching, affecting the stability of the US dollar and the global financial system. The US and Hong Kong are both making strides toward regulating the stablecoin market. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority has completed a public consultation on stablecoin regulations. This consultation aims to introduce clear guidelines by the end of 2024. Over the past 5 years, Hong Kong has become a popular destination for fintech firms. Hong Kong authorities are actively promoting the Web3 ecosystem, focusing on investor protection. Hong Kong initiated its stablecoin regulations in January of 2022. They shared a list of 8 questions to seek policy-related recommendations. They also outlined 5 possible regulatory outcomes: no action, opt-in regime, risk-based regime, catch-all regime, and finally, blanket ban. After the public consultation phase, the HKMA will focus on the areas of issuance, governance, and stabilization. This year, Hong Kong has taken the lead in crypto regulation, opening crypto trading for retail traders and starting a licensing regime for crypto exchanges that requires adherence to strict AML regulations. So it's not like it can't be done should the US want to do so. Because here in the US, the House Committee is looking into introducing regulations around the stablecoin market. They have introduced 3 draft stablecoin bills in 2023, with the latest proposing key powers to the Federal Reserve and some power to state authorities to intervene. To be sure, the approach of regulators in the two countries are different. While Hong Kong actively works to make the country a crypto hub, the actions of US regulators might force many established businesses to move out, including stablecoin issuers. The US SEC accused several stablecoin issuers of violating securities laws and has filed a lawsuit against Binance and its stablecoin BSD issued by Paxos. Now, this is separate from the other legal trouble that Binance is dealing with in the United States. Jeremy Allaire is the CEO and co-founder of the stablecoin issuer Circle. He is urging lawmakers to defend the primacy of the US dollar and to pass stablecoin legislation. He believes that the dollar is at a crossroads due to the rapidly evolving geoeconomic and geopolitical blocks that are putting pressure on the dollar-based global financial system. Allaire pointed to strides that China's been making with a digital yuan and said a stablecoin bill would be a crucial piece of legislation to keep the U.S. currency at the forefront of the global financial system. In April, the House Financial Services Committee released a new discussion draft bill that would regulate stablecoins in the United States. Allaire believes that delivering a bill to Biden's desk should be a national priority. He noted the recent EU, Japan, and Hong Kong efforts to regulate U.S. dollar stablecoins. He also called for nationally established standards for state and federally licensed issuers and tailored and limited rights for stablecoin issuers to access basic Federal Reserve account services. This would facilitate more timely satisfaction of redemption requirements, enhance financial stability, and protect consumers, all without providing access to the discount window or other financing programs afforded only to banks. Allaire also called for criminal penalties for companies that knowingly issue false digital dollars. He believes that civil penalties alone are insufficient to dissuade those who have tremendous economic incentives to flout U.S. law and to undermine the dollar's credibility at home and abroad. Throughout tonight's episode, we covered several important stories that shed light on the evolving regulatory landscape and its implications for the crypto industry. Let's recap. First, we discussed eToro's decision to delist 4 cryptocurrencies for its U.S. customers. This was in response to legal action by the SEC against Binance and Coinbase. This highlights the impact of regulatory actions on platforms and their need to ensure compliance. Delisting certain cryptocurrencies demonstrates the platform's commitment to navigating the regulatory landscape while still supporting the crypto industry. Next, we took a look at the ongoing lawsuit between Ripple Labs and the SEC, specifically the recent release of documents related to William Hinman. These documents ignited a significant debate about the classification of cryptocurrencies as securities. The outcome of this lawsuit and the interpretation of Hinman documents could set a precedent for the classification of other cryptocurrencies. This has far-reaching implications for the regulatory landscape and the industry as a whole. Our third story focused on the legal battle between Binance US and the SEC. Binance US enlisted a former SEC enforcement official for its legal defense. Such a thing showcases the intensifying nature of the regulatory crackdown on the crypto industry. The outcome of this case will have significant implications for cryptocurrency exchanges and may shape future regulatory actions. We then discussed the dissatisfaction of U.S. congressmen with the SEC Chairman Gensler. We took a look at their proposed bill to restructure the SEC. This highlights the ongoing debate and legal uncertainty regarding the SEC's approach to crypto regulation. Because, my God, Gary, it's just not working. The outcome of these efforts to reform the SEC and to provide clear and consistent oversight will be crucial in shaping the regulatory environment for digital assets. Last, we explored the efforts by Hong Kong and the United States to regulate the stablecoin market. Hong Kong's active pursuit of crypto regulation and the completion of a public consultation both reflect its aim to become a crypto hub while ensuring investor protection. In contrast, The U.S. regulatory actions have raised concerns about driving established businesses overseas. The importance of stablecoin legislation was emphasized, as it can defend the primacy of the U.S. dollar and establish clear standards for stablecoin issuers. These stories collectively emphasize the evolving regulatory landscape in which the crypto industry operates. Compliance with regulations is becoming increasingly important for platforms and businesses. As the industry continues to grow and mature, it is vital for stakeholders to stay informed, engaged, and adaptable to navigate the changing regulatory environment effectively. Remember, the regulatory landscape will shape the future of the crypto industry, and it is crucial for participants to understand the evolving rules and regulations. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating, or maybe a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.